Hi, welcome to the Spiritual Connection Show. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So I'm a transformation coach, I'm an energy healer, I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I'm the spiritual head of Transformation Center CT, which is located in Westport, Connecticut. So at the center, we do a variety of workshops, different trainings, retreats. We also have a monthly satsang, which is Sanskrit for in the company of the truth. And everyone is welcome to come to that. It's usually the last Wednesday or the fourth Wednesday of the month, just for about an hour. It's a time to really be with yourself in your heart. We do meditation, chanting. It's just a beautiful evening. So you're welcome to join us whenever you're available. And the Spiritual Connection Show is all about connection. What a surprise, right? So it's about connecting with each other as well as connecting more fully with our own spiritual selves. And on the show, each week I have a different guest. So it's really a great opportunity for you to learn from them about their spiritual journey, what they're up to, what services they offer, and that way you can learn more about yourself. So we're all about helping you on your spiritual path. So welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. So tonight, my guest is Wayne Leiss. Welcome to the show, Wayne.
Thanks, Katie.
Yeah, I'm so happy you made it down for this. Yeah, just a little bit of hiccup
Despite
there
all
along
the traffic
the way.
there.
Yeah. So I'm just going to read a little bit about you that you sent me so our audience can get to know you a little bit before we start. So Wayne is a speaker, an educator, a licensed massage therapist in the state of Connecticut, and also a certified essential oil coach. He studied the use of essential oils in the treatment of trauma, as well as using Symphony of the Cells protocols to support healthy body system response to maintain balance and harmony. Well, that sounds perfect. Well, I can't wait to hear more about that. In addition, Wayne has 28 years of corporate business experience, and he's demonstrated community leadership. And he's also committed to a balanced lifestyle, blending work, volunteerism, family, and fun. What a great combo.
Got to have the fun or it's not worth doing, right?
I totally agree. Right up my alley. So we're going to learn all about what you do in a minute. But first, I always ask my guests, could you please share a little bit with us about your own spiritual journey thus far and how you got to where you are?
Sure. I was raised Roman Catholic and was a church musician for close to 30 years. And after a parting of the ways, I've still maintained a spiritual aspect to life. And I've, whether you call it spirit, whether you call it God, whether you call it Buddha, whatever, there is a universal power,
right.
I believe.
It's all the same.
It's all the
right?
same. It's
yes.
just a different name
yes.
for what you're calling it.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that when you work with the universe works with you, and
right.
It's very important to have fun along the way and treat people good and it's all the karma. What you put out
mm-hmm.
comes back 100-fold. So
yeah.
Put out the good energy, and good energy comes back in.
Yeah. So that's what you're all about.
That's what I'm all about.
That's awesome. Well, since you spent 28 years in the corporate world, when did that change? What shifted for you that had you do something different?
Well, I worked 28 years in banking, and actually one of the banks was right around the corner here on Wall Street in Norwalk. And I ended my career in a bank in Danbury, but I was the IT security officer. And the bank had grown from when I started, and it was just my job became more and more focused on tedium, being in IT security, and I'm not a tedium kind of guy. And it was just, I felt it was time to move on, and I had an opportunity to become the first executive director at the Ridgefield Theater Barn, where I had worked, or I've been volunteering there since 1990. So I left the bank to do that, and through that transition, I also became a licensed massage therapist to help balance the books. Because as you can imagine, working for a small nonprofit is slightly different than working for a larger bank. And through that, I was introduced to essential oils. So It's kind of been a roundabout journey. No regrets whatsoever. I'm happy to be where I am, and I'm still on the board at the theater. I'm not the executive director anymore. That lasted for 2 years, and then I happen to be president of the board right now. I'm finishing up a term, and it'll be 30 years in May. So that I've been there. So it's been a fun journey along the way, and I'm looking forward to moving on to some other things and continuing with the journey I have with the healing work that I do.
So you're moving away from the volunteer work with the Playhouse, or no?
No, with the theater, yeah.
The theater, not the Playhouse. So
they're different organizations.
Okay, so tell me the name of it again.
The Ridgefield Theater Barn.
Theater Barn.
There's a community theater that's been.
I gotcha.
This is our 55th season.
Oh, wow.
So,
I'm not even familiar with that.
Yeah, you should check us out.
I'm
There's
very
a
familiar
lot
with
of
the
stuff going
Playhouse,
on.
but not the...
We're across the ball fields and down the hill, really
Okay,
easy to get
awesome.
to. So it's ridgefieldtheaterbarn.org. There's lots of stuff going on. We have close to 40 weekends of performances in a pretty much volunteer theater.
There's so much going on in Ridgefield, isn't it amazing?
It's amazing.
I love that place. So how did you get involved with that? What appealed to you about the theater? Were you an actor or a singer?
I traveled for a year with Up With People, which is a musical group, also known for their volunteering and community involvement. And when I came back, some friends of mine who knew, and I was a church musician, like I said, for close to 30 years. So some of my friends were working on a show in Ridgefield at St. Mary's, and they needed guys who could sing and dance. So they asked me if I was interested in going and auditioning. So I was in Jesus Christ Superstar back in 1990 there, and some people that I met there said, "Oh, you should come try out for a show we're doing at the Theater Barn." And it's all, that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, right. That was a while ago.
Yeah. So it's I've been involved there since 1990.
Okay. And you'll still be in some way, maybe.
Oh yes, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't give
Just
that
not
up.
on the board. So it's good.
That feels familiar to me because I was helping with a nonprofit for about 20 years, and I just recently got off the board of directors.
Yeah. And it's time to go to a different phase of my life. I left corporate America the day before I turned 50. Oh. So it was a journey, beginning of a new journey, and one of my whys is to be able to travel. And when you're in corporate America, you're stuck to a 9-to-5 job or whatever hours you're working, and you have less travel ability. And with my job now, I can travel whenever I want, and I can do my work wherever I am, which is beautiful. So last year I was even able to take a 51-day cross-country trip. I drove. So I went to convention in Salt Lake City and spent 3 weeks getting there and 4 weeks getting back. So it was a lot of fun.
What did you learn on that journey?
I learned how beautiful this country is. I went through 30 different states. So I can now say I've been to all 50 states and done something in them all.
That's quite an accomplishment.
That was one of the goals of the trip. And there's so much beauty and diversity in this land of ours that you don't see when you stay in one little pocket of it. And from hiking the Badlands to going through Arches National Park
I love Arches.
in Utah, and I was chased home by a hurricane at the end, but it's
there's always that.
It's a beautiful land.
Always the weather, Well, that sounds awesome.
And I got to stay with friends and family along the way. So
it
was, I got to reconnect with people I hadn't seen in years.
That's perfect.
One guy, we think the last time we saw each other was the late 80s or early 90s at a wedding. He was a college friend of mine that I reconnected with in North Dakota. So it was, and it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome, because I was going to ask you, because you seem like a guy who really is about connection, like I am. It's one of my core values. And so I was going to ask you, you must have connected with people along the way.
Oh,
and
yes.
Obviously,
aside from the actual week at convention, there were only 4 nights that I stayed in a hotel out of those 51 days.
Oh.
The rest of it was with family and friends.
So that
old and new. Some of them 30 years, some of them, my brother in California, I've known him his whole life. And then others were people I just met a couple months before I went. Yeah. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, that's cool that you were able to take the time to do that.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of the life that I lead. I can I can work where it's the life I designed, the life I manifested, because
you created that.
I created it. And anybody can really create. Yesterday morning I gave a talk to a team of ours on manifestation and some of the things that I manifested, and one of the big ones was my new job, and another one was was a house move that I had done 2 years ago. That when you really can, when you put it out there and believe in it, it can happen. And
I think that's a wonderful example to share with our viewers how that works. Can you be a little more specific, like what your
in manifestation?
Yeah, what your experience with it was.
Sure. First of all, you have to have something that you want to manifest, and it has to be specific. If you want a new car, you don't just say I want a new car, because you might get an old Pontiac 58 with no engine. You want a new SUV, 3 years old, under 15,000. That's a little bit more specific.
Yes.
So first you have to have a specific goal. Then you have to put it out there. You have to be detailed about it. I was very specific about the details of what I wanted. I wrote my resignation letter to the bank 11 months before I was scheduled to leave, and I put it out there. And then, because what happens is...
Oh, you mean you didn't turn it in?
No, I wrote it and hung it on my refrigerator.
Gotcha.
I dated it the day I wrote it, and the day I was going to turn it in, which was a month before I left.
I see.
And I told my boss about it in October. I told the president of the company about it in February. Everything fell into place in June. I crossed off the date at the top, wrote the June date on, and handed it in. And the HR people, I remember, why are there so many dates at the top of your letter? I said, it's because it's important that I use this letter.
Yeah.
And I wrote it then. This is when I was going to turn it in. This is when I actually turned it in. So it's still, everything happened, but I was specific about it. And when you're specific about what you want, it's reticular activation. It's when you don't see, your mind takes in so much information that is irrelevant.
It's too
but
much.
If you give it a focus, then it's there. All of a sudden, if you buy a new Honda CRV, all of a sudden you see hundreds of Honda CRVs on the road. They were always there.
That's true.
Your mind wasn't thinking about it because it was irrelevant. So when you give it a goal to think about, then all the possibilities that were always there then present themselves and become recognized, which is really important when you're manifesting something, is to have a goal. You have to believe in it, because if you don't believe in it, your subconscious is going to be like, well, he doesn't believe in it. Why should I work for it? So it kind of waters it down. So you have to believe in it. There were 5 steps, and let's say it was specific, belief, getting rid of the negative, whether it's self-talk or people who are saying you can't do it. Just you have to eliminate that from the process. Okay. And one of the big things at the end is to rejoice and celebrate the wins, because that cements the manifestation process in your mind.
So it reinforces
the loop so that you can
do it again.
Yeah. So and you should always celebrate accomplishments anyway. It's a really important thing to do in life.
I think you're right, and I think we rarely take the time to do that, or we don't think it's important for ourselves.
Right.
You see people celebrating other people all the time, but I think that's awesome that you pointed that out. Yeah, it is important. Well, that's great. I think that's really helpful, because a lot of people, hear about that, but they're not really too sure how to go about doing it. So I think that's really helpful to do that. So you manifest. What was it about, or how did you determine what your next step was going to be? Because you said you got trained as a massage therapist, right? Was that the first thing you did?
Well, when I left the bank, I became the executive director at the theater. And
that was the first step.
I took a large pay cut going from corporate America to a small nonprofit. Right. And in order to be able to do that, I went back to school full-time as a massage therapist so that I could supplement my income. Through that, I was introduced to essential oils.
Right, but why the massage therapy? What was it about that
I've
appealed
always
to
liked
you?
touch. I've always, I'm half Italian. There was always touch in our family. I like touch.
Yeah, it's important.
I'm
that
a
connection.
hugger. I give great hugs. Everybody tells me I give great hugs. So,
and that's the name of your company too.
It's
touch.
Centering our lives through touch. Yes. So that's important to me, and both the physical touch and then of course with the oils are touch based as well. So, and you're touching the senses, all the senses, and it's really important. Touch is really important in life. So that was the tagline for my massage business. And then when I left the theater and went to oils, it works for that as well. So.
Okay, so so obviously you use the essential oils in your massage therapy.
I do, and I also help
like
people.
Aromatherapy.
I do that as well as using them in the actual massage oil that I use.
Okay.
I
good.
Blend my own, and then what I also do is I help educate people on how to use essential oils to maintain a healthy lifestyle. I mean, since I started using them, and I use DoTERRA essential oils, which are some of the best you can get out there, and you have to know the quality of the oils you're getting, and I trust the doTERRA oils. So when I only speak about them, but using the oils, I've managed to eliminate all 5 of my prescription medications.
Wow.
Which is
that's amazing.
Really amazing. I mean, I was never a Twinkie and Twizzler kind of guy anyway. I always liked fruits and vegetables and healthy foods. Okay. So I didn't have to change that part of it. And the last one went when I dropped a few pounds because I was a little bit more overweight than I am now. Working on that. But the first 4 went with just changing, adding the oils and supplements to my life, and then the last one, which was the blood pressure, went with that as well as with
that's awesome.
Some dropping some weight.
Yeah.
So it's really important. I mean, I have an obligation to share these gifts of the earth with everybody else. doTERRA actually, the word means gifts of the earth, and I feel it's incumbent upon me to share these gifts with everybody else. They're there for everybody to use, and they can help everybody both emotionally and spiritually and physically. So it's my mission now, and that's what I do full-time, and massage is still part-time. Okay. So massage never actually became a full-time piece of what I do.
I see, but they fit in nicely together.
Oh, they fit beautifully together. And I can work on the oils, like I said, wherever I go. I teach classes, and I have events and emotional workshops and classes on men's health with oils and pets and kids and oils of the Bible. I have all sorts of different classes that I can run and events that I can do that are fun for parties and things like that. Which is how I got involved with the TLC group, with all the stuff that is
you
there.
Work with Kristen Raza.
I work with Kristen Raza. Kristen and I go back to college. We've known each other.
Oh my gosh.
We've known each other a long time.
Oh my gosh.
I won't say how many years. But
no, not necessary.
I met her. She's a couple years younger than me. I met her when she joined contemporary choir that I directed at college. So that's how I met her.
That's
and it
perfect.
turns out
meeting through the music, and then
it turns out we lived in Danbury and Ridgefield, right next to each other, and had not had a connection.
Hadn't really kept up through the years. Right?
Yeah, and then she actually choreographed and was in Superstar when I did it at St. Mary's in Ridgefield. So we've had a long connection through. She also was on the board at the Theater Barn with me for a while, and then she moved to Norwalk and further away and stuff. And now with the oils, we're back together, working together side by side, and it's wonderful. Yeah. It's wonderful to be able to work with people you like and people you love and people that support you and the supportive atmosphere and it's those connections that you talk about.
I know. I love that.
And they're the physical connections, the spiritual connections. They're all there, and when you have beautiful connections, life's great.
Yeah,
life's great.
Well,
it was funny. I was just going for a walk this morning, and my neighbors were coming in, and I told him I was going to jump rope in the garage because I was too embarrassed to do it out in the driveway because my jump roping skills aren't quite what they used to be when I was in high school. And he's like, I can't believe you were embarrassed. You're the most calm, cool, collected person I know. He said, I can't imagine you being embarrassed about anything. I said, well, you obviously haven't seen my jump roping skills, but that, thinking about it, that's a nice compliment that he sees me as a calm, connected, well-balanced person, and that even took the initiative to say that. Which, as I was doing my walk, I was, thinking about that, how cool that was. That he, sees me that way, and that's what the impression that I give. So I like to, I'm healing heart is what's on my necklace. It's a tribal name that I have.
Don't mess up your microphone.
Sorry, with a group of a retreat center that I'm involved with in upstate New York, and it really is what what I do. I like to heal bodies and hearts. It's important to have a healed heart. So I do that through touch. I do that through oils. I do that through connection, the spiritual connections.
Well, that's it. And I think that heart-to-heart connection is what really makes it special and makes it healing. And the fact that you can be vulnerable.
Yep.
Because I think when we're vulnerable with someone, then they can open up and show their true self. That's what my experience has been. So that's great that you're able to bring that out in people. And even have your neighbor acknowledge you like that. That shows that it's really, because we can also change the world just by being who we are.
Yes.
Right? Have you experienced that?
Yes.
The people around you, they want to be around you more. They want to have what you have.
Right. So, and it's back to the law of attraction, which is part of what manifestation is.
Yeah.
It's like vibrations attract. Yeah. If you were to take a set of tuning forks and put them on 4 different sides of a stadium, and you hit the G in one, all of the G's around the entire stadium will ring. Because likes attract. So when you vibrate at a higher level, love is one of the highest vibrational levels, then you're going to attract that. Right. And if you are more negative, you're going to attract more negative into your life. So it's always important to raise the vibration levels. And you can do that through positive thinking. You can do that by being around people who are positive and eliminating the negative in your life. You can do that with oils. Oils are very good for raising the vibrational level. Rose is one of the highest vibrational oils that you can have.
I was going to ask you for some specific examples.
Rose is I think, one of the highest vibrational oils.
So essential oil of rose. I haven't I don't think I've ever tried that.
Awesome. We'll have to get you some.
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to try it. Because you have spent the time and really made yourself it sounds to me like an expert in the world of essential oil, and especially doTERRA, because that's the one you use. So you then pass that knowledge and that expertise on to other people, through your workshops. Now, do you also have individual clients that you work with?
I do. Basically, if you sign up to get any essential oils with me, you're part of my team, and I'm always available to anybody on my team. So I support the people that are working with me, and they support the people under them, but I'm always available to help as well. So it's, I do, sometimes, we do checkups, we do wellness consults, and help, how can you use the oils more in your life? And it's, it is a lifestyle, and I found that when, I always say, I'm always going to turn to my oils first whenever there's a problem, because, we joke about we have an oil for that. Well, we really do have an oil for that. If it's an emotional problem, we have an oil that can help with that.
Yeah.
And if it's a physical problem, we have an oil that can most likely help with that. So I turn to them first, and I'm not saying that medicine is bad. I'm just saying we don't need the chemicals all the time. And
go the more natural healing route.
Your body knows if you have a synthetic or a natural thing that are identical under the microscope. Your body can tell which one's the natural and which one's the synthetic.
Do you do the kinesiology testing with clients to see what works for them?
I don't do that as much. I can. I mean, I know
if it's called for.
If it's called for.
But basically, you have that knowledge and that expertise to know
and we have lots
do.
of resources. One thing about doTERRA is they're huge with education and science and resources. So there's lots of resources out there that can help you
can turn to
help me help you, as well as I can actually do a scan. I have a device that can actually scan your body, and it's a galvanic skin response scan, and it can tell you what oils you need right now.
That's amazing.
For you for today.
Do you have it on you?
I don't. They're in the middle of an upgrade of the software, and my device isn't working. Otherwise, I usually have it with me. We're getting ready to release a new software version this week. So I can't wait to get it, because there's lots of new things that are going to come out with that.
So do you recommend that someone that doesn't know anything about essential oil, what would be the first step?
contact me.
So just reach out to you.
Reach out would be the first step, because we have lots of classes that we run on a regular basis, both myself and Kristen and other team members. And right now it's a great time because Kristen's in what's called Diamond Club. So not only can you get the benefits of the oils and at the reduced prices that doTERRA already has, if Kristen's at the event, you even get extra oils, which is really kind of cool. So there's lots of events
look for
coming
the events,
up.
Look for the workshops.
Yeah, so
it's a learning experience, right? I mean,
yes, it's but just contact me, and it's the easiest way, and I can set you up with either an individual consultation or tell you about some of the classes that I have coming up.
Okay. And most of this info is also on your website.
Yes.
At the end, we're going to just show a graphic with your website and stuff. Yeah, so if somebody just was curious, there'd be no obligation.
No,
there'd be no
classes are generally free,
yeah.
Unless it's a workshop where we're using a lot of oils in an application workshop. Like if we're doing the emotional transformation workshop, there's usually a minimal fee just to cover the cost of the oils, because we use a lot of them in the process.
And that's an experiential.
That's an experiential one, yeah.
Not just educational.
But even when I do make and take events where it's mostly people who are already using oils, they come and learn how to use them in a different way. $5 or $10 just to cover the cost of the materials that you're going home with.
What they're taking home.
But other than that, there's the classes are free, the consultations are free, the intro classes are all free, and it's
that's great. That's a really good
we're
service.
Getting ready for convention. I don't know if this show will be out before our convention, which is in September, but they always release 5 to 10 new products.
Wow.
Sometimes new oils, sometimes new oil-based
Where do they find
products.
new oils?
There's lots of. We have close to, I think, 120 oils now, but there's also all sorts of other products using the oils that so you can eliminate the toxins in your life, because that's
like the cleaning
the
products.
Cleaning supplies, the toothpaste that doesn't have the bad stuff in it, like most of the other toothpaste do. The cleaning supplies. There's a whole spa line. There's all sorts of.
Like
there's a whole supplement. There's skincare line. There's a supplement line, which is actually, even though we're an oil company, it's our best-selling product. Is the Lifelong Vitality product, and it's.
Well, that sounds great.
And it's got a great name. Who
Yeah.
doesn't want lifelong vitality?
Right. Well, I would encourage everybody to look into it, and we're going to wrap up in a minute. So is there anything that you would like to share before we wrap up?
Yeah, going back to my days in music, I just want to ask everybody to let their light shine for all the world to see, the brightness of your life within, the peace that sets you free. Let your light shine to fill your nights and days. All will see the deeds you do and give the Spirit praise. Thank you for having me.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you. That was just a nice surprise ending. Perfect. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, my pleasure.
And thanks to our audience for being here. I hope you enjoyed the discussion as much as I did. And I hope to see you on the next Spiritual Connection. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn, signing off. Good night and blessings. Thank you.